What's up, beautiful people? Happy reopening day for Georgia and some southern states. I guess it's not like all the way open, right? But better than nothing. So, yeah, I just do another little vid here. Today I want to cover some like conspiracy basics, because with all this talk of conspiracy theories surrounding 5G and coronavirus and this total polarization of our society, I know I said in like a previous video that I'm not really here to talk about conspiracies. I'm more like a spiritual messenger, which is true, but I kind of am here to. I'm actually here to bridge those worlds of the conspiracy world, which is very like negative and jaded and a lot of atheistic vibes and just stark negative place. And I don't really encourage anyone to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole unless you feel called to. And I don't really encourage forcing any of this information down people's throats. However, with all this talk of recent years of people being woke, this could also be a checklist of how woke are you, with that word being thrown around. So, just getting into some basics. Where would I even start? I guess you've heard of the Illuminati, and some say that's a conspiracy theory, that they don't really exist. And the thing is, they exist, but we don't know for sure if they call themselves the Illuminati. I call them the Illuminati just because they still use the symbolism. And so that's a whole rabbit hole you can go down. The history of the Illuminati. Actually, a really good place to start is a documentary called Monopoly Men. It's about 40 minutes long and breaks down a little bit of Illuminati history, but mostly it's about the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank. You know, the guys who print the dollar. And so check that out, number one. It's just history. It's not conspiracy. It's not a theory. I mean, it was a conspiracy. Still is. But, yeah. The highlights on that are that the Federal Reserve Bank is a privately owned bank. It's not part of the federal government. There's no federal oversight over how they raise and lower the interest rates or how much, currency they allow or pull back from the markets. Well, this is not a Starbucks shirt, by the way. This is Oceanside, California. Representing Oceanside today. Had a nice family reunion there a few years back with the Mann family and the Hillstads. So big ups to my family. And so yeah, Federal Reserve Bank, good place to start. It's partially owned by the Rothschild family, which some say is the richest family in the world. It also owns a stake in the Bank of England and the Central Bank of Europe, I'm sure, among others.
I talk a lot about stuff on video.
And hey, look at this guy.
Hey, Ryder,
Hollywood.
US. What the fuck I said? Malaysia.
Love you, brother.
No more yay.
Hey, look at this guy. It's a party. All right, I love Hollywood. Anyway, so the Rothschild family, Mayer Amschel Rothschild had 5 sons, and 2 of those sons took control over the Bank of England during the British-French War when Napoleon was in power, the Battle of Waterloo and all that. And they took control of the Bank of England by spreading false information that that France had won the battle. So that sent, of course, the English stock market into complete nosedive, and then they were able to buy up everything. And then, of course, the real news came out that Britain had won, and then they made so much money off of all that they were able to buy the Bank of England. So, yeah, and I'm not covering all this stuff to like instill any fear or hate, or it just needs to be accepted and dealt with, that this is the nature of our reality. Okay? So I'm not talking about any theories here. This is all history. This is how shit went down. if something is a theory, I'll say so. So, and again, just going back to my personal journey, I wasn't like digging for this stuff, like seeking out to be some conspiracy theorist and looking for the answers that I'm looking for. No, I was divinely led to this information, beginning with the 9/11 video in 2005, August. So, checkpoint number 1, are you woke? Do you know about the Federal Reserve creation? Check out that documentary Monopoly Man. So that could be number 2, 9/11. Do you believe the official story of 9/11? Really? That 19 guys from Saudi Arabia? I don't want to spend a long time talking about 9/11. That's pretty much been beaten to the ground, and either you've been convinced by now or you haven't. But come on now. I mean, do you know that one of those 19 hijackers they named is still alive? And to this day, they haven't revised the list. They still say he's dead and that he's one of them. So that should tell you something right there. Anyway, yeah, check out 9/11 if you haven't. Number 3, I'd say, a big one to be woke on is Pearl Harbor. There's a declassified document called the McCollum Memo, where the administration at that time, or I think this guy McCollum, who worked for the feds in some capacity, released this memo of how to provoke Japan to attack us, to get us involved in the war, because America needed a reason to get involved in the war. So the war profiteers can make money building tanks and bombs and stuff, doing what they do best. Controlling the money, controlling the weapons, making money off of both ends. The usual story, going back thousands of years. So, yeah, that should be an open and shut case at this point. So the McCall memo outlines 6 steps to take, mostly economic stuff, to provoke Japan into an attack, which they did. And so not only did we know about it, but it was intentionally provoked. And that's, been proven to my knowledge. And then, of course, the next biggie, you gotta talk about JFK, which the Zapruder film clearly shows that he was shot from the front, from a gunman behind the grassy knoll, that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't even pull the trigger at that day. He wasn't even in that window. It was somebody else. He was downstairs having lunch while the whole thing went down. And you can look into that as well. So just... if you're comfortable with the stuff and want to know more, feel free to ask. I'm not trying to beat a drum or anything. I just, in this time when this conspiracy theory stuff is floating around and polarizing a lot of people, I want to, chip in my 2 cents and, say that, yes, the virus is real, but it could have been intentionally released or whatever by China or US. No one has any evidence on any of this stuff. We know there were genetic or whatever laboratories in Wuhan where they were working on this stuff. We know that there have been laboratories in the US where they've been working on stuff and stuff could have leaked. So we don't really know much. No one's been a whistleblower from the inside if it was an inside thing or a planned viral release or whatever. So the whole 5G connection, I'm not gonna even get into that. There's enough going around about that already. But just they lie to you on the news. You should know that. So I've said before about them inflating the coronavirus numbers. This has been documented. This is not to say the virus isn't real or it's not a terrible thing or we shouldn't be careful. It's not to say that. It's just to bring to your attention that there's some kind of agenda here and they're lying. They're lying. That's it. To the extent they're lying or what they're lying about, people seem to accept that they're being lied to since the day of birth. Since their parents' birth and their grandparents' birth. It just goes back and back, the history of this country. But having said all that, let's end with a little meditation. Take a deep breath. Feet flat on the floor, hands comfortably in the lap.
Which way's the gas station?
So, I am always so helpful. Deep breath, feet, run that energy. Back up breaths. Third eye activation, cosmic energy. Flow that energy throughout the body. Bringing that energy, healing any ailment or illness in the body. Just heal it all. Just burn it all out with that cosmic UV light. Breathe. Third eye. Be who you are. Recognize your own divinity. Don't take shit from anyone. Be nice people. Namaste.